Hello, hello, and hello once more. Hello, my name is Gaz Williams. Welcome to my show, my erratic and irregular show. I keep promising I'm going to be bringing back the show more regularly, and that is my intention. So, yeah, stick with me, and hopefully that will be the case. Hey, Tracker Jack. Hello, Keith in Watford. Thank you so much for joining. Broadcasting live from Bristol in the UK on the 14th of August 2024. Cold storage, hello. Yeah, so we're just getting things started, and we will plow on. Obviously, before going too much further, those of you who watched Sonic talk earlier, and I'm sure many of you will be aware that we've lost an incredible part of our community in the wonderful Inky da Cat, Lisa Beynon. And it's just like devastating, and I won't dwell too much on it because it really is something that is kind of choking a lot of us up. She was such a enthusiastic, supportive, fun ball of energy, and yeah, it's definitely a very sobering, sad thing. Yeah. Oh, okay, just checking. Am I frozen here? Let's just see. Oh, Tim Dale. Hey, great show on Saturday. All we need to do is how to fit this choir in a rack. I will talk about this a little bit. I just want to see, have I frozen? If anyone's watching live, can they just let me know if I've frozen? Because my video here is frozen, but maybe it's just my monitor here. Yeah, video's frozen. Okay, thank you. I'll just try and work out why that is. Bit annoying. Don't know why. Let's just switch over to this one. Hello, and I'll switch back, see if that brings us back. Maybe we're back. Okay, I don't know why. Don't know why that froze. Okay, thank you. I think we're good. So yes, Saturday. I performed with Steve Davis on Saturday. I'm sure many of you will have heard of it if you haven't already. We did a performance as part of Brecon Jazz's 40th anniversary on the Mindset stage in Brecon Cathedral. Now, I won't talk too much about that show because we have filmed it, and we will be putting that video out of the concert at some point in the future. But I do want to talk about what we're going to be talking about tonight, because I think it's really, really cool. And that is the Befaco Oneiroi. Yes, this rather large and special Eurorack module. But I will be talking about this in quite a bit of detail over the course of the evening, and looking at the functions and doing a few demos with it. Few other things in the rack here. I've got Morphogene in here just really to provide an audio input, because there's a stereo input on the Onoy, but we'll go through it in a little step-by-step guide shortly. Just come back to the main. So yes, dedicating tonight's show obviously to the memory of Inky, Lisa Beynon. So dearly loved, really important part of our community. So yes, really, really sad news. However, we are going to press on. I know she would certainly want us to carry on. So yeah, this is for you, Lisa. Inky, big love. Yeah. Okay, so yeah. Mentioning just about the concert on Saturday in the Cathedral. I will do a show about it and go into detail and show what we used. But I did use the Oneiroi, as did Steve as well. Steve's got one in his rack. In fact, we both bought them at the same time and learnt them together, which is a really good fun thing to do. If you get the opportunity to do that with someone, it's brilliant. Okay, but anyway, the Oneiroi. Now, for those of you who are not interested in modular, the Oneiroi is kind of a bit of an anomaly in a way, because this is the Oneiroi. It's next to the DivKid stereo strip here, which has got the same looking controls, but yeah, that's a separate module there. So the Oneiroi is, yeah, it's this bit here. And what's really cool about the Oneiroi is you could use the Oneiroi and just as a standalone, you know. So if you didn't, if you like the Oneiroi but didn't want to go down the Eurorack route, you know, you could just, you know, it works on its own and it's great. So that, you know, you wouldn't need to necessarily use it with anything else. But the keen-eyed viewers out there will notice that there is actually loads and loads and loads of CV inputs. So there's 8 CV inputs kind of in the main body of the module, and then another 8 at the top here, and another 3. So you've got 4 volume CVs, which, oh, little sneak preview, can control the 4 volume of these 4 channels here, and then you've got 4 dry wet CVs which control these ones here. You've also got a sync in, so for clocking purposes, although it's, yeah, there's some drawbacks with using that sync in, but we'll explore this. And then there's a record and a random inputs as well here. So we've got a random button, again we'll explore this, and there's a record button here for the looper section. Okay, I'm guessing that a bunch of you will already know this. It's been out for a few, well, probably a month or so. First announced at Super Booth this year, and I was dead keen to get my hands on it, because I think what really cool about the Oneiroi is almost like it's almost like a module. The way I've described this module is, you know, when you're a kid and you draw like a your dream kind of car, and it's got 15 exhaust pipes on, and it's got laser turrets on the top, and it's sort of, you know, and it can fly and go underwater, you know. It's that kind of thing. The Oneiroi has got so many things packed into it, you'd almost think that it was a make-believe module, just because, you know, it's like what they've done is they've taken like all the fun bits and shoved it into one module. So, you know, we've got these different sections, and, you know, we have an oscillator. Well, it's more than just an oscillator. It's like a super saw oscillator with 8 detunable waveforms. But also you can switch it into a wavetable, and we'll look at that in a moment. There's also a separate sine oscillator, which is nice for adding a bit more kind of weight to the other oscillator. They both follow the same volt per octave input. And then we've got an audio input, which, as I say, is a stereo input. And you've got, for the stereo input, you've got 3 gain levels on the top here. So you can put line level directly in, or Eurorack level, or somewhere in between. And you've got a looper as well. And the looper has a little pre-post switch, so you can loop incoming things into the input when in the pre mode, and in the post mode you can sort of essentially loop the output as well after it's fed through all the effects. Little caveat with the looper though is it's only 5 seconds long. I would really love it. Befaco, please, please, please give us an alternative firmware with a longer looper, because it's so much fun, but like 5 seconds is a bit too limiting, I think, for what you could actually do with it. Now, I think the reason for that 5-second looper is that I mentioned the wavetable oscillator. When you flick in the wavetable oscillator, the wavetables that are derived from whatever is in the looper buffer. So that's quite a clever idea. So maybe 5 seconds. I think it takes 32 wavetables or something from across that, whatever's in the looper buffer. But okay, we'll just carry on moving through here though. So yeah, so you can see essentially we've got 4 sources really: our input, our 2 oscillators, wavetables, and supersaw 1, and the sine and the looper. Then on this side then is our effect section, and we've got a filter, a resonator, an echo, an ambience, so like a reverb. And I should mention that the routing is fixed. Other than the filter, you can move the filter, you can just kind of move the filter along until it's at the end. So you've got 4 locations for the filter. So apart from that, everything else is kind of fixed, which is a little bit not in the spirit of modular. You know, this is almost in some ways like a preset modular, not preset sounds, but like preset modules all kind of fitted in. But because you've got so many CV inputs though, I think there is a lot of flexibility in there. Checking in with the chat room. So just chatties, I know you know the score, but I'm pretty hopeless at following the chat. So I'll take questions. I'll take questions a bit later. So if you've got any questions about this, like I'll endeavour to answer them. But we won't do questions from. So don't ask me questions just yet, because it'll throw me. Yeah, chat amongst yourselves as you usually do, and that's all lovely. Okay, so let's get back to it. Okay. Now, at the moment, the Oneiroi is in its kind of default set, in its default way. I'll just make sure that's the case. I'm just going to power down this rig, and I'm going to power it back up again, just to make sure that this is in its startup. You can save certain parameters into the as a startup, which is nice. I think I've only changed something of the maybe I've changed the relationship of the tuning between the sine oscillator and the supersaw. But one thing that's quite nice is from a default, from boot up, the looper, rather than the looper being empty, the looper is filled with a white noise. And that's what we're going to start with now. So that'll help us just kind of get going. So if I bring the looper level up, we'll hear the noise. Now, so this isn't a noise generator, it's a loop of noise. So I mean, I could, at 12 o'clock there, it stops the looper. So, and then past 12 o'clock, it plays it backwards. It's very similar actually to the Morphogenes one here. Okay. I think if you listen to this loop as well, I think you can, I'm not sure actually if you can hear where it loops. I think when the sync light lights up, I think that's the end of the loop. I might be wrong about that, but yeah. Okay. Now the controls we've also got for the looper, which won't make a lot of sense with noise, are a start and a length, but there are some other features as well, because we do indeed have a shift mode. Okay, so and the shift mode is one of those either latching, you hold it, make an adjustment, let go, and it'll go back to normal, or it will latch. And you do have to watch out for that, because if you're in shift mode, then these controls will all act differently. So just have to make sure that you're aware whether shift mode is on or whatever. Okay, so here's our little filter noise going on. Now this noise then, it goes into our effects here, and at the front of the chain is the filter. So if I adjust now, this is a multi-mode filter. As I say, this is like a spaceship with, it's so many things on here. So we've got low pass, high pass, low pass, band pass, high pass, and then at the end here we've got comb filter as well, and we've got resonance. Okay, so let's get a bit of resonance. As you'd kind of expect. But then these are like wet dry mix, so we're fully wet with the filter then, but we could kind of do parallel processing here by moving this wet dry filter. Okay, and then we now go into the resonator. So let's bring this in. So adding a tone here. So as I play with the tuning of the resonator, we've got feedback control here as well for the resonator. Wow. Yeah, you do have to watch out. It is quite easy to just accidentally turn it a little bit. So these effects, they all have like one CVable parameter. So in this case, this tune control can be CV'd. Now, I did mention that you can use this very much standalone, and it does have its own modulation source that you can send to all of the parameters within this area. That's pretty cool. Let's get a bit more feedback. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so next in the line. Oh yeah, like I mentioned, you know, you can move the filter's location. So I hit shift and I can move this filter. Oh, look, I did that mistake. It's easy to, you have to take shift off. So our filter's now after the resonator here. Okay, now we got the echo here, so bring the echo up. Okay, and our echo gives us density and repeats, and with the shift control you can filter the repeats as well, so you can choose. Let's do that. In fact, let's get this open up the filter a bit. More repeats. So I have to go into shift mode, and then it's one of these like DJ filters. Then at 12 o'clock, no filtering of the repeats, and then like high pass filtering and low pass filtering of the repeats. Let's get a little bit more of that going on. I've done it again. Shift. Again, it's easy to do that. You know, but as I say, if you hold down shift, adjust, and then let go, then it will be momentary, like as opposed to the toggling function. So the echo will follow the sync in as well if you want to use a timed clock. Okay, and then the final effect then is the ambience. Okay, so we can bring that in. Now the ambience has got this macro control, it's called space time, and we got a decay control. So decay, obviously decay length. Let's take the echo out, and okay, so the space time then at 12 o'clock I think is kind of off, or sort of off, and then as we increase it, it's increasing a few of the parameters. This is CV controllable as well, and when we take it counterclockwise, it goes into like a reverse reverb. A little bit difficult to tell maybe with this. Obviously an all digital affair. And Befaco have been marketing this as a drone synth, you know, a drone module, which it absolutely can be, but it can be a lot more than just that as well, which we'll see in a moment. Now, I've got the dope for joystick here, the A1744 3D joystick, and that's actually quite fun to use in conjunction with this. It's called a 3D joystick because it's got the different axes, but it's also it will rotate as well, and everything springs back, and there is a button on the top which creates gates as well, so quite a cool thing. Now off screen that we can't see is another modulator that's the crate from Dnipro. I might adjust the camera later, but yeah, so just to give us some external modulation sources, so the joystick and the crate, which can be like LFOs or random, quite a few different things. Anyway, let's have a little think about this now. So this is all just really quite nice, even just using just this loop of noise. Let's just set up our first bit of modulation. So I'm going to go into the resonator CV, and I'm going to. Oh, I've got a pitch quantizer from Instruo over here as well, so that might be fun to use. Okay, I'm just gonna let's put this on the rotation. So on this joystick, then we've got you could use it on that axis, or you can use it in quadrants, where the quadrants let you have mix the different CVs together. Let's chuck another one in now. Gotta be filter CV. So let's put another one in. I'll try it on the space-time now. Let's try this one. So this joystick actually works great with this module. Just exploratory kind of sounds. Okay, so what I'm going to do now then is I'm going to, like, if I was to bring in my pitches, my oscillators, they'll just drone. You do get some digital artifacts with this module though, so you do have to watch out for that. You hear that sort of clicky there. let's get another one in. I might patch all of these in just for fun. I'll put this into the echo CV, the density. I mean, all this kind of stuff is, you know, obviously not particularly musical, but good fun. Right, let's get some more in. More CV. Where should we put this one? Oh yeah, I'm going to control the detune control for the... Get more filtering. I mean, you know, we could be just twisting all of these knobs. Not a mega fan of these pots. They're alright, but they're not the most grippy. But the bigger ones are nice. Yeah, so I mean, obviously this kind of stuff is all... Oh, here we go. Oh, where's that now? Is that... it does make these kind of clicky noises at times. I'm keeping a 1U, sorry, yeah, like a 1 HP, sorry, not 1U, 1 HP blanking panel there, just to give myself, I'm still hitting these cables though, so really probably need 2 HP spare to stop that collision going on. Yeah, can't quite get the full range there. Maybe right angle jacks would help. Okay, let's zap all of this out now. Okay, so yeah, so it's kind of like, it's, you know, that kind of stuff. And tell you what I'm going to do though, I'm going to pull all of these out again. And then this time, what I'm going to do, I wonder if I can do another camera angle here, but yeah. Oh, I don't know if you'll need to see it, but on my left, I've got the Instruo Harmonig, or the Harmonig, I like to call it, which is a, yeah, it's like a pitch quantizer that you can do harmonies with. I'm only just going to use one of the 4 outputs here, and I'm going to put that into the volt per octave input. Okay. Now, the reason for that then is I can pitch quantize. Let's bring in, I'll just use a sine for the moment. Wow, slow. Shift, and the pitch control gives us an octave switch. Hey, thanks, Robert. Okay, so now what I want to do now is patch in. Let's have a look. I think I'm going to use, let's just turn that for a moment on. Oh, I don't think you can quite see them, but there's LED lights on all of the outputs of the joystick, and maybe you can just about see them. But it makes me wonder which ones would be good for mapping. So I think I'm going to, when I move the joystick this way, I'll have it, let's have it that like that output there, and then I'll put that one into the into the instrument. So now, I've got it going the wrong way at the moment. So what I'll do is okay, let's drop it down a few octaves. So at the moment, the pitch quantizer, the only note that I've got switched on is the, well, it's just one. Oh, let's just put, okay. Let's bring in the, right, let's have a little play with this oscillator then. So this super saw oscillator, let's just do that first. So we've got a control here then for the detune. That big super saw sound. So I could add in the sine into that. And so that control then, that can be modulated. So let's try that then. So, and I'll do that on this, pushing it up, the joystick up. Let's try that one, and I'll put that one into here. Oh, so now we'll get some. Swap that one over to there. I'm just going to put the filter back to the beginning of the effects chain. Okay, let's put the filter in. I'm going to put that twist, the twist to open the filter. Let's try that. Okay, so obviously a bit dry, so let's try a bit of the echo there first. Just pull those repeats down. So it's starting getting a bit more interesting now. Now, on the DivKid stereo strip, we do have inputs for the volume and for the pan. But I think I might try this. I haven't done this before, but I might see what happens if I put the gate in to the volume. Now I'm going to push the button. It opens the VCA. I got filter mouth going on. So it might be nice to actually have had some effect post this as well for that. so when I release the thing, it carries on a little bit. But I have at the gig on last Saturday, what I did for the rotation, I used that to control the pan. So actually, let me just set that up. Some of these kind of I'm just going to take the filter out a moment and just control the pan. So what I found, that it didn't need too much pan control off the rotation. There we go. So if I do a pan, so as I move it around, it gives me some panning control as well. Yeah. Yes, I feel that this is a good. I feel this is a good match for this. Okay. Now another use that we could do is we could use this rotation for some either the volume CVs or the dry wet CVs on here as well. So let's just try that with, say, the echo. Or maybe the reverb actually. Oh, that's quite nice. So I can control the amount of reverb by when I rotate this. Oh, that's good. This is really verbed out now. Now I'm rotating it back to let the dry back through. So the gig in the Cathedral then last Saturday in Brecon Cathedral, we did it in quadraphonic, which was great. We asked them when we got the gig, when we were offered the gig, we said, yeah, but thank you, but can we do it in quadraphonic? And they said, why not? Which was brilliant. Welsh company called Tantrum, who put the gig on and had phenomenal equipment, wonderful stuff. The screen that was behind us was fabulous. But doing stuff in quadraphonic is was quite interesting, because we're trying to work out how to utilize that without it being really, I don't know, overcomplicating things or whatever. But so what we did really was we just had very slow, smooth, and we were using like sine wave to modulate the position. But Steve was actually in mono mostly, and I was in stereo, so Steve's sound was quite solid and was moving slowly around, whereas my sound was moving kind of slightly quicker, but also was moving across the stereo spectrum as well. So you sort of had like one stationary sound that was kind of moving around, and then a faster sort of ping pong sound moving around too. And that was quite fun. And then again, I was using that joystick then to twist it to try and make things move, to pan across. But as I say, because that was moving around, you know, you had that kind of effect. It was really nice. It worked quite nice. But you know, as with most of these things, you sort of have to find the right balance where it's not too jarring and not too kind of, you know, puke inducing. I did want to try audio rate panning, um, but maybe good sense making, you know, we didn't want to make it horrible for the audience, so try to find something, you know, try to find a way to make it move gently and not too obviously, but just to give like this immersiveness. But yeah, that was really good. That was really fun. Anyway, that was a little aside. I might just keep coming back to those. So that gig, we spent like some quality time, Steve and myself, rehearsing for it. And during those rehearsals, we played 3 20-minute pieces, and each of those pieces was sort of roughly themed. And during the rehearsals, we would just, every time we would tackle one of the pieces, it would come out really, really different. Yeah. Okay. I will get to the chat room. So yeah, thanks very much everybody for joining me. There's a nice audience here tonight. It's making me feel really, yeah. And again, just if you've not long joined us, we are doing, you know, this is dedicated to the memory of the wonderful Inky da Cat, Lisa Beynon. So bless. Anyway, let's get back to the good stuff. Yeah. Okay. So as I mentioning then, one thing we haven't really looked at yet is the looper, and the looper has got some extra controls because you've got a start and length control. Now, again, those don't really make a lot of sense with the noise, but then if we got some sound up off the morphogene, then let's get the morphogene doing something, if I can remember how to operate it. The most infuriating module of them all is the morphogene. It's got such a strange... Right. Let's get the morphogene doing something. The morphogene from Make Noise, that's just here, is in many ways a fantastic module, let down by one button to there should be another button on there. You have to remember so many different types of you know, ways to operate it, and it's just, I find it infuriating, maddening. Okay, let's try using that then. Oh, that sounded... here's the ice cream vans. Yeah, let's use this, why not? Let's give a bit more input gain here. Just get it doing something a bit more interesting. So that, just to show you this first before we use the looper, obviously as it's coming in, you know, it's going through all the effects. So the filter, let's just take these off for a moment. It's going through the filter and then the resonator as well. So we can do get some. Okay, so now I've got this sound coming in. Actually, so this little switch, the pre-post, if I put it into pre, then it would sample the raw sound from the morphogene, or if I did put it in a post, then you could sample it with all of this good stuff going on as well. But let's keep it to the pre for them now. Now, so I'm going to hit the record button. Oh, hey, look at that now. See that little burst of noise? That's because I didn't clear the loop first. With shift and record, you can wipe it. So maybe that would have been a good idea first. So let's get that going again. Okay. So we'll get a little. Let's get a little stuff going here. Hey, 99, Andy Brooks. Okay, so now, oops, we've got this loop playing. So I can pitch it down off the vary speed. And that vary speed is CVable. Let's try it. Let's try it on this up axis here. It's kind of cool. So now let's have a look at these other controls that we've got. We've got a start and a length control. Okay. So let's make it short. We sort of start to get into granular territory, really. Little short one here. Very short. And then I can move the start position. And that is, these are both CVable. And of course, put that through the filter and the echo. I've kind of lost it a bit. Hang on. Right. Let's get a filter on, so it's not so unpleasant. Okay, short little things here. Now the start. I'm just going to pick up on that there. That's using the Parasites firmware for warps. That is an amazing delay. I want to cover that one time. So yeah, thanks, Synchrotron. So this kind of stuff is always fun, isn't it? So let's try and control the length then with another CV. Let's try this one here. So we can control that at the same time. With the resonator. So having this kind of like mixer area down the bottom here is really nice for getting these blends of things. Of course, I could bring some of the input back in alongside this now. Bit of reverb now for just for like the gravy on a Sunday roast. Cool. And I may as well modulate the looper CV. Could put some drone in with it as well now. Try and get the oscillator sort of be in tune, and the sine as well. If I press shift and use the detune, it's like the tuning sort of ratios between the wave, between the super saw and the sine. So lots of fun to be had with this. Okay. So what we'll do now, I think, is look at the some of the other functions that we haven't looked at yet in the Oneiroi. So the two main ones that we've not looked at are the internal modulation and the random function. So the random function, let's do that one first then. So okay, let's have a look. So we've got this button here, and there's two switches just above it. So this is our random button. We can press it and it will randomize things based on what these buttons are doing. So we've got an amount, and we've got three different amounts from small, medium and large amount of random. But also on the left of it, we've got a control which is all, oscillator, looper and effects. So you can choose which part it will modulate. So I think probably easier then to demonstrate that is for me to unpatch my joystick. So we go back just to our unpatched sound, and let's just have a listen to what we got. So our looper is currently doing this. Okay, so if I set this switch just to looper, and I'm going to put it on the least amount, hit random. Put it on the middle section. Now, I'm just going to do this for fun. My gate out of my joystick, I'm going to put that into the random switch. I mean, I could press the button there or do it on there. Okay, and then maximum. Ooh, see, now that's gone. Okay, so you get the gist of this then. So I'm just randomizing the looper parameters here. Let's bring up our effects now. So I'm going to put the switch to effects and I'm going to put it in the middle setting. Push my random button. Let's turn these up a bit. Randomize it. And again. So I'm not sure if it's just randomizing what the CVs would be doing, or if I bring these levels down. Yeah, it's not changing the dry wet mix at all. So it's just changing the parameters. Accurate beats, oh my goodness. How nice to see you. It's been too long, my friend. Oh, look at that. There's a Christmassy sound appearing. Okay. So now, if I bring in my oscillator, and I'm going to set this little switch to oscillator. Hit the random. And again. And here's a cool feature. Right, like, okay, say I like this now. Let's say, which I sort of do. And I press random again. I say I don't like that. Shift and random is a random undo or redo. So being able to undo the random is a really nice feature. Now, here's the bit that we've all been looking forward to though. The all. Let's see what happens. Oof. I can hit the random again. I'll put it on maximum. That's kind of cool, isn't it? Ooh, sorry, let's get that loud down a little bit. Yeah, so that random feature, I think, is really well implemented. Being able to give you the different destinations and then the strength of that as well. Here we go. I think I want to get this to being, and put this back in to the Vault per Octave input, so I can play melodies with it. Random. Random. Oh, what am I doing? I've got it on here. Let's do it on the least amount of random, but on all. I mean, I don't know, but it's definitely, we've got 3 levels of, if it's a pseudo random, it's still random enough for me. So yeah, so one thing I didn't mention with the looper then is you can set it to a sound on sound amount. By default, it's like replace. So as soon as you press record, it will immediately replace whatever's on the loop with the new material. But if I go shift and turn this all the way up, then it behaves more like a boss looper now, where if I go into loop, record rather, let's see now, put the length full, let's just get this, oh, I had it in pre, duh, I had it in pre, let's put that in post, do that again, let's do that again. Turn the effects off, just listen. Oh, still in record there. You can hear the start point. So then I suppose if I then recorded this over the top then. Wow. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. My speciality. Okay. I'm not entirely sure what that. Why is that going up? I don't know. Oh yeah. I'm wondering if, I think maybe the random, the random may affect the mod level. So indeed, let's investigate. One day, everybody, Pork Ticket will become public. Yes, the mythical Pork Ticket. Oh dear. Sorry, Steve Kirby. Oh, wow. The gas. Yeah, it's terrible. Um, I should mention something about this Oneiroi though, is I bought it like as made up, and I think I paid around £420 for it, which yeah, it's quite a bit of money, but it's also in modular in a modular sort of sense. It's almost a bargain really, considering how much you actually get within the one module. But it is also available as a kit, and my good friend Andy Mac from Sonic, I know he's got it as a kit, and I do believe that Andy Marshall has actually completed the build of one from a kit. So don't know how difficult it is. But I think it's sort of, I don't know how much, maybe somebody could find out how much it is for the kit. Yeah, so Bugglebeggar is a great name. Thought that actually would expect it to be a bit more. I know what you mean. I think it does actually seem to represent all right. It's all right for the money. Now, it is running the OWL platform from Rebel Technology, and so underneath the hood, so to speak, it's the DSP that's in here. Then is the OWL platform. Now I'm not sure exactly what DSP that is, but I know it's open source, so it's all open source, which I think obviously makes it quite an interesting prospect, because I'm saying that I'd love to have more looper time, so maybe somebody could adjust that. I don't know, maybe there's ways of shifting some of the available buffer around to increase the looper time. But from my understanding, oh, there we go. Thank you, Dilip Funbar. So yeah, €332, 285 as a kit. Now that strikes me as being really pretty cool. I think that would be a phenomenal thing to build as a kit, I think. So yeah, so we'll see how Andy Mac does with his. But yeah, so from my understanding then, the OWL platform, there's lots and lots of you can get pedals and various modules that run this same platform, and there's a whole host of DSP available, different effects and all sorts of things. And I think what the Oneiroi is just is like a kind of cherry picking of some of the existing algorithms and code that already exists and maybe has been tweaked for this particular module. But it does make me also wonder whether in the future whether there will be some kind of software modular aspect to this, because you've got this fabulous layout. Maybe you could switch out the delay modules, the reverb modules for other ones, or maybe. I mean, this is all pure speculation, but with it using this open source compendium of effects, that seems like a reasonable thing. Okay, so I think I'm not going to go on too much longer, but what I'd like to look at though next is the built-in modulation. And one more thing also we need to look at as well is how it handles incoming CVs. I've been just using it with the joystick, but if we were to send it a full range LFO, for instance, the cool thing is that you can, well, actually I may as well do this now, but yeah, let's do this now first, and then we'll do external CVs first, and then we'll do the internal ones. Haven't really used the internal much at all, so okay, so I'm just going to find an LFO from my crate module. I'm sorry that's not in shot, but it'll just be a standard LFO, and we'll use that LFO, and I'll send it out full range. And I'm going to just put like I'll make it fairly smooth, like a sine wave LFO. And let's, yeah, just for ease of use, I'm going to drop this down an octave. Okay, now filter up, and then this will go into the filter CV, and then we should just make sure that I'm sending it full volume here. Okay, so just, yeah, so that's sending the full. Ooh. Just send it fairly slow LFO. Okay, let's just, I'm trying to get it to make a more extreme sound here. I'll speed up a little bit. Okay, so I hit shift and then hit mod amount, and the button goes green. Now when the button's green, then the knob that that you're adjusting becomes an attenuator. At 12, I think it's 12. I think it works as an attenuator actually. Let's have a look. Or maybe not. Struggling a little bit to make this sort of sound predictable. Maybe a faster LFO. Let's come up here. Turn the filter all the way down. Now let's see. It's not, I'm not quite getting what I thought was going to happen there. Ah, my bad. Rich Nickel, hello again. Brilliant. My bad. I know what's going on here. The mod, the built-in mod is already normaled to the filter, so we just turn that all the way off. So I think that was what was. Here we go. Okay, so now shift and the mod then. Okay. Yeah, so it's like an attenuator then. Absolute living legend in the room, everyone. Yeah. So there we go. That's why that was. So yeah, so it's kind of cool that even though you don't see any attenuators on the module in that mode, again, shift and with the mod on shift where it goes green, then the controls then become attenuators, which is kind of an efficient use of space. And I think, okay, so, and yeah, and then that works for all of the CVs which are in this central section, not these ones at the top. So, yeah, so for any of these, we can attenuate that incoming CV, which, as I say, super cool. Okay, so then I guess the final thing then, I think we'll have covered most of it. There are a few more shift functions that I haven't talked about. The looper, for instance, in shift, we can put a filter onto it, and the filter will work. At the moment, we haven't got any decay, so it's staying at, it's looping, it goes round, and it doesn't decay at all. But if we were to sort of, you know, have it sort of decay, then we can apply some filtering to the, so as it starts to decay, that doesn't seem to work. Let's put that about 50%. I've not used that function. Okay, I'm not quite sure. I haven't used that, so not quite sure why that is. But yeah, so that seemed to not be, that didn't seem to be decaying then, but apparently it can decay. So, and then when it decays, it can decay either each time round it goes round, it'll filter out, you know, either at low pass or high pass decay. And then what else have we got? We've got a few other shift functions. Yeah, there's like an auto pan here on the echo. Let's bring that in. Not the echo, sorry, on the ambience. So shift. Let's turn this up. Get some panning going on. Are we hearing any panning? Not sure. Wow. I can hear some panning now. Yeah. And then actually, ooh, let's leave that filter up. In the resonator, the shift gives us some dissonance. Oh, ouch, sorry about that. And some of the controls don't have shift functions. Yeah. Okay. Right, so as promised, then we will just look at the internal modulation. So there's just like one modulator, but it can affect any of these central controls, and similarly to the external CVs, you can attenuate how much this modulator you can have it affect every one of these parameters simultaneously and by varying amounts. So let's have a look at that then. So let's get get this going, and the filter. Let's just unpatch this for now. Okay. So by default, it's turned up on the filter. So if I turn up the mod level, and we got speed control for it here. Let's make it fast. So this is like the master mod level. And then if we could go into the mod amount button, which is lit up red now, and then I could choose, actually let's make it, I'll just max the mod amount, and then here I could choose how much I want our master modulation to affect the cutoff here. Okay, so, but now if we turn up any of the parameters, any of the other ones, then like let's say the pitch control here, how much do we want that mod affecting the pitch? Let's get some echo on here. How much do we want of this? Loads. The resonator. How much of this do we want? And the ambience. Let's get the looper up here. The vary speed. Now the start and stops. Just get everything modulated. Okay, let's come out of here. Now our mod level. There. So then, so you can see what I'm doing really. So as I turn up the master mod level, it'll affect all of the parameters that I've adjusted now. So actually that's a really powerful, that's a very powerful tool. Now, around the outside of the speed control are various waveforms. So let's listen to some of them. So rising ramp rather. Let's make it a bit slower. So this modulation alone is supremely powerful. And then if I was to carry on through the different waveforms, all the way over to the right, we have got an envelope follower, and that will follow whatever we've got coming in on our input. Just, that's our input. So the envelope follower, so so we don't need to hear that. But that would actually, now if I remember rightly as well, in the shift, with shift on, if we hit both of these buttons, sorry, that should reset all of the modulations. So let's see now if we've got that input going on. Okay, so if we have the envelope follower of that on, set it to this. And then set our pitch. Ah, did it wrong. Mod amount, sorry. Let's turn that one up. I think I need to work on that one a little bit. Okay, yeah. I've actually not tried any of this yet, so it's a bit daft demonstrating stuff I haven't tried, but it's all in there though. Yeah. So I think you can guess that this is a module that is it does all sorts of stuff. Yeah. And there we go. Okay, well, hope you've enjoyed this look at this exploration of the Oneiroi. I think we've covered more or less everything on there. I mean, yeah, I might have missed a few little bits here and there, but by and large, you know, it's one of the most feature-packed, uh, module that I've ever kind of come across, really. You know, I mean, it's a reasonably big module, but you know, it's it uses that space well. I mean, it's you know, it's packed full of stuff. Any criticisms? Well, yeah, sometimes I feel like the digital nature of it, there are some sort of clicks and glitches that sound quite digital. And maybe it's when you're really working it and you know you get something, and especially with the echo, I seem to hear some kind of clicky things with it. But what else do I think? I think it's you know, you could use it, you know, subtly, or you could use it maximally. You know, it's a module that certainly can kind of cover a massive array of ground. You know, something I've been intending to do is use the volume CVs with a 4-channel envelope generator. I think that could be quite good fun. Maybe it's a module I'll come back to in future shows. What I noticed, I've got it in this small little skiff at the moment, but before I had it in a much bigger rack, and I think the nature of it, it sort of really wants to be like the star of the show, I think, or certainly, you know, it's got enough about it that it can be the star of a show. So I think when it's in, you know, like a small skiff, like it's in here, I think that's you know, ideal for something with this range of facility. I like using the joystick with it. I think that's a really good, you know, there's all sorts of possibilities. I mean, I've barely scratched the surface really of what you could do with that. But just out of sight, or maybe I could just shuffle this along a little bit. There we go. Let's hope it doesn't fall. Well, it could fall. I'll just support it. Oh, right, okay, just so you can see what was going on. We've got the Instro Harmoneg here, which is acting as a pitch quantizer. But then here, and I think this module deserves an episode unto itself. This is the crate from Dnipro, and this is my most recent module actually, is the expander for the crate, which is called the Iwa. And what that does is it gives you CV inputs. So the crate is a 3-channel modulator, but each of the channels can actually be a CV recorder as well. Now, I've been using the let me just grab one. The Touche, which has got 4 CV outputs on there. And what I'm going to be doing with the crate is using the outputs of the Touche, well, or rather 3 of them. I wish the crate was a 4-channel modulator. I think they could have fitted an extra socket in, and I think it's a real shame. I think this would have been a much more useful module as a 4-channel one, but yeah, it's only 3 channels. But as I say, each of those channels can be a CV recorder, and then so if I was to go to this channel here, for instance, drop it into record. Oh, I don't know if I hold it like this, you can see, but you know, maybe you can just about see there that you can record knob movements. But with the expander, this new one, this EWA, it lets you record incoming CVs. So I'll have CVs from the Touche going into that. But you know, similarly, I could take the output of the joystick and chuck that in there, and then I could then, when I'm in record mode, you know, I could record joystick movements, and then and go into record. Oops, I'm in the wrong channel there. You know, I could. Oh, can you see? I can. Oh, actually, that's not in record. Let me just change that mode. Record mode. Here we go. It's going to record. Oh yeah. Oh, let's see if I can hold this. Oh, this is asking for trouble. I didn't mean to do this, but yeah, when I'm in record, yeah, I think you can just about see in that little display there that as I'm wiggling the joystick, it's recording that CV motion. So yes, so that's a little preview of things to come. Yeah, I think we'll look at that in some detail once I've become a little bit more familiar with it. But right, as for now, oh, I'm so sorry. Before I go any further, has anybody got any questions they'd like to ask about the Oneiroi? Then now would be the time to do it. And yes, please consider liking this stream. I think it's been reasonably okay, I think. But thank you ever so much for joining me. It really is a huge pleasure for you to take time out to watch me on this show. Yeah. But yeah, if you have any questions, yes, please ask now. What does the Oneiroi taste like? Oh God, really? Wow, tastes really good. Yeah, any more questions? So before I go, yeah, but yeah, I think it's definitely a module that is high on is big on fun. You know, I can imagine for some people it might be too fixed in some ways. A friend of mine thought it wasn't really a proper module, you know, because he'd want to be able to patch, you know, change the order of things and patch things around, you know. The only outputs you've got are the main left and right outputs, for instance, so you can't output the modulation source. Yeah, fair point. Yeah. Yeah, so you can't, you know, and yeah, you can't, you know, you've got certain limits to what you can do. But to be fair, I think for the size of it and the feature set, I think it does plenty, really. But yeah, it is a digital module. It does have some digital aspects to it. You know, the filter, for instance, it does sound pretty good, but you know, you can't beat an analog filter. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I'm happy with it. I definitely think it's a keeper. I've had a few issues with it actually. Whilst we're talking about some of the negatives, I've had a few things that it's been behaving strangely. Something to do with the. Oh yeah, there is one thing I forgot. I forgot. This is quite a big one. This super saw, you can switch it in. So that's what's currently in our looper buffer. So we can switch this super saw into a wavetable, which is derived from the looper. So let's have a listen to what it sounds like. And I've typically found that these sounds are not the nicest. The wavetables, I guess it depends what's in the looper buffer, but it's most of the time that I've tried to use it, it's come out sounding, you know, different versions of this. This kind of thing. But, you know, you can do stuff with it. Let's just a little jam out on there then. You can CV control that wavetable. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that, but yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm glad I covered that now. Right. Okay, and on that note, thanks everybody. Hope to see you soon. Yeah, please consider subscribing and liking this if you haven't already, and I really appreciate those of you who have already done that. So thanks a lot. Big love to everyone, and again, you know, huge, I don't know, big love to Inky's family, Lisa's family. One of our great community members has sadly passed, so yeah, tribute, dedicate this to her. Yeah, thank you. Okay, bye everyone.